Okay, good morning. We are getting ready to get started. Yes. I sent you all an email with the information, so you all should be able to check that. So let's get started. Okay, good morning, everyone. Today we're going to go over some information for theme one. Theme one, the topic, the theme is Meridians, and we're going to look at Columbus Voyage of Discovery. Again, my name is Mr. McIntosh from R.M. Bailey Senior High School. I see someone. Okay, good. We're going to get started right now, okay? Yeah. So our objectives for today, at the end of today's lesson, you should be able to review Renaissance thinkers and inventors. Again, some of this information may be information that you already covered, and for some of you, this is new information. Wherever you are, the whole objective is for you to gain some knowledge today. Our second objective is for you to describe skills of Columbus, that made him suitable for sea voyages. Also, to assess Columbus' motives for his voyage of discovery. And finally, to evaluate challenges Columbus faced with finding funding for his voyage of discovery. Okay, so we're going to start off with a nice little test to test your knowledge. I want you to write your comments or your responses in the comment section. Ms. Baker, if you can hear me, please send me a WhatsApp message. She'll just check your responses to make sure that you are answering the questions correctly. Now, I'm not going to tell you whether you're right or wrong. It's just to find out exactly if you remember anything that you've been taught in school or in junior school about Columbus and about the Renaissance, okay? So question number one. Where did the Renaissance begin in the 15th century? That should have been. Oh, good. A, Portugal, B, England, or C, Italy. You're going to write just answers in the chat section. Okay. Question number two. Which country? Devon says Portugal. Oh, wow. Guys, that's the smart group, eh? Okay, question two says, which country sponsored Columbus' voyage of discovery? The options are Spain, England, and France. Okay, you guys are thinking. Someone says Portugal. Wow, interesting. Question number three says, who invented the printing press? The options would be Gutenberg, Columbus, or Vasco da Gama. These are all names that should be familiar to you. Columbus invented the printing press. Wow. Gutenberg. Wow. Good. Question number three says, which country's flag is this? If you look, well, hopefully you can see, there's a flag. Which flag is this right here that you can see? Is it Portugal's flag? Is it Spain's flag? Is it France's flag? Whose flag is that? Question number four. Can you see the flag? Good. Mr. Taylor says Portugal. Calvin says Portugal. Jody says Spain. Someone else says Spain. No one believes it's France. Dion says Portugal. Brianna says Portugal. Wow, some smart children. So let's move on. I won't tell you the answers until the end, or you'll tell me the real answers at the end. Which country flag is this? Is it Spain, France, or Portugal? Is another flag that you should see. Do you see the next? No, I don't see it. Oh, okay. Anyways, I'll show you the flag at the end, but I think it'll show you at the end. Yeah. So anyways, let's move to question 6. Where was Columbus trying to sail? Was he trying to sail to the New World, to the Indies, the Americas, or was he trying to sail to the Bahamas? New World. Brianna says New World. Daranique says, Joanna says New World. Alfred pointed that he's trying to reach the Americas. Julian says New World. Wow. Interesting responses, but we'll learn about all of this today. Question number 7 says, which direction did Columbus try to reach his destination? Which direction did Columbus try to reach his destination is what this should say. Your options are A, north, B, south, C, east, and D, west. South, west, west, north. Calvin says north. Joanna says south. Okay, good. Tajay says south. Matthew says east. Okay, interesting. Next question says, where was Columbus born? Was he born in Madrid, Spain, Haven, West India, Portugal, or Genoa, Italy? Everyone says Genoa, Italy so far. So y'all probably learned something or think something. Good. Question number 9 says, what was Columbus' mission? A, to find Indians, to find Americas, to find Spain, to find a safer and faster route to the east. What was his goal? I see everyone saying D. D. Okay, you guys may be right. And finally, question number 10 says, what year did Christopher Columbus finally set sail with his 3 ships and crew? Was it 1492, 1492, 1502, or 1482? A and B, A and B, C and D, A, C. Someone said 1502. Dominique says 1502. Good, Dominique. You're doing some big stuff. Good. Anyway, so let's move on. Okay. Hopefully, if you can see the flag here, this will be flag for question number 6 that we didn't see earlier. So let's end with this one right here. Which flag is that? Alfred says the Spain flag, without a doubt. Is anyone else? That's the flag. Which flag is that? Showing you that the bottom flag with the red and yellow. Spain. Someone says not Spain. It is Portugal. Everyone else says Spain. Portugal, Spain. I can't see Hendo. If you look to the top right of the screen, you'll see 2 flags. We're referring to one to the bottom and one to the top. Dion says Spain. Calvin says Spain. Brianna Mackey says Spain. Spain. Oh, wow. Okay, good. So let's move on. Hopefully by today, those who are unsure, we should be able to clarify those today. To Mario Thompson says one to the top is Portugal and the one to the bottom is Spain. Good. So let's look at our lesson for today. So we're going to start off today by reviewing some information about the Renaissance. First of all, the Renaissance means rebirth in French. Rebirth simply meaning it was nothing new. It was simply looking at information from the past. This was a time period following the Middle Ages that lasted from the 1300s to the 1500s. There was a renewed interest in learning after the Dark Ages. About the achievements of the Greeks and the Romans, okay? The Renaissance had its beginning in Italy. Italy during its time was extremely wealthy. They had lots of money. They had money because they had lots of industries and lots of banks. And so because they had so much money, they were able to use this money to explore things that typically persons didn't explore during the time. So they had money to invest in paintings and leisure activities. And these would be your Italian cities such as Florence and Venice. Which became rich, like I said, because of trade and industry. And what happened was, even though the Renaissance would have started in Italy, it started to spread throughout other areas in Europe, such as England. Okay. One of the major things that the Renaissance produced would have been the printing press. The printing press was a machine that made print material available. Prior to this, they had print material available. However, print material was not available to everyone. The invention of the printing press in Germany by Gutenberg really and truly helped to change access to information for persons living in Italy and Germany, eventually, and other parts of the world. Okay. Gutenberg's first printed book was the Bible. Prior to this, the only persons who were able to read the Bible were priests. They had access to the Bible, so therefore, persons only knew what the Bible said based on what the priest said. And so the priest said to them that God said women should be submissive to their husbands or else they'll die. Because they didn't have access to that Bible, and they wanted to not die or go to hell, they would listen to whatever the priest said. However, like I said, Gutenberg's invention of the printing press made Bibles available to everyone, or those who could afford to actually purchase these various books. For the first time in history, the average person had access to printed material, and that is something for which was new to persons during the Renaissance era, okay? Also, during the Renaissance era, we have persons such as William Shakespeare that would arrive. William Shakespeare is most famous for his plays, but he also wrote poetry. His writings showed a deep understanding of human nature and expressed the thought and feelings of his character. And most of you would know William Shakespeare from his play. What's the famous play that everyone knows that William Shakespeare wrote? You can type in the chat section. I can see Hamlet, Macbeth. Very good. You guys are good literature students. Okay, so all those would have come as a result of Romeo and Juliet. Would be the more famous one that's known worldwide. Okay, William Shakespeare would have been one of the writers that made himself known during the Renaissance era. Also, you had famous artists such as Michelangelo. Michelangelo was a famous painter and a sculptor, and as you can see, some of his very good work. Prior to this, when you look at art in most parts of the world, it was very dark, and so sculptures and art paintings were now brought to life. Okay, and we also had persons like Leonardo da Vinci. He was the first scientist to perform human dissection of the body to study anatomy. His paintings are very realistic, and we see that in paintings such as the Mona Lisa and the Last Supper. And he drew the first man flight using wings, and he also sketched plants and animals. Right here, showing you a picture of the Last Supper by Da Vinci, and right here is showing you some other pictures by Da Vinci. This one right here that you can see, hopefully you can see my mouse waving over, showing us the human heart, and this one showing us the skeleton human body. Okay. Okay, so our thinking question for today, after looking at the Renaissance, it says the printing press was the greatest achievement of the Renaissance era. How far do you agree with this question? The statement? Explain your answer fully. Now, usually when we have questions like this, you will find this on a BGCSE perhaps. This is known as our JPR, or justified personal response questions. You are expected to give points of agree, points of disagree, and you end with a conclusion. Typically, you would give 3 to 4 points of agree and 3 to 4 points where you disagree, and you end with what is known as a logical conclusion. So if someone says to you that the Renaissance was the greatest, the printing press was the greatest achievement of the Renaissance era, I want some of you to give me some points where you would actually agree with this. You can chat in the chat section. I can see. Think about it and just give me 1 point of agree and 1 point of disagree. Asia Butler agrees, allows people around the world to be able to learn how to read. Okay. Ms. Rose said, with the printing press, people could not be manipulated by the Pope and priest of the church. Okay, good. Ebony, you have to say why you agree. You just can't agree. Raymond Taylor said it was a great achievement because it allowed people to read for themselves and not rely on the church. Very good, Mr. Taylor. So you need 1 agree, 1 disagree for this exercise. But typically, like I said, you need like about 3 points of agree, 3 points of disagree, and you end with a conclusion. Alfred Poitier II says it gave everyone access to reading material. Okay, very good, Alfred. Anyone else before we move on? Julian says I would agree that it was the greatest invention because people were able to understand how to write and read. It was able to educate people during the era. Good. Can someone give me a point of disagreeing? Ronaldo says he agreed because it gave persons the privilege to read. Okay. Brianna says, I agree because people could now have their own hard copy books. Okay, good. So let's move on. Just a question for you to think about as we move forward, okay? Also, during the Renaissance era, we had changes in navigation and technology. So we had advances in technology which helped to make the explorations of the world possible. And we'll talk about, how did I get back here? Sorry. The introduction of latitudes on maps made easy. What am I doing? Made it easy for navigators to find their way. Okay, discovery of new ocean currents, new instruments allowed sailors to locate their positions. New ships could carry enough food and water for long voyages. Prior to the Renaissance era, you would find that most of their voyages by sea they were very, very short. And during the Renaissance era, they made new ships that made longer voyages more possible. And so therefore, persons were willing to explore, okay? Even though prior to the Renaissance era, you would have most persons believe that the earth was flat, and if they ventured out too far, that sea monsters would devour them. So that was a typical fear that most persons had. However, like I said, during the Renaissance era, they made ships that allowed sea explorers to take longer voyages, and so persons were more willing to go. Okay, larger ships with new sails and also better steering devices made longer voyages possible. Okay, we'll talk about that now. One of the great explorers of the Renaissance era was Christopher Columbus. As you can see this beautiful picture, if we go in New Providence, can someone please tell me where is this picture located in the Bahamas? Which island? Is it in Abaco? Is it in Bimini? Is it in Berry Island? Which island is this picture? Or where exactly is this picture? Nassau. Hendo says Nassau. Alfred says San Salvador. Asia says New Providence. Nassau's on an island, Hendo, by the way. Raymond says San Salvador. Natalia says Nassau. Nassau's on an island. The island is what exactly? New Providence. Julian says San Salvador. Wow. Let's go, people. I see responses in the chat. So let's look at that. Oh no, they're old, I guess. New Providence and Dior says San Salvador. Ronaldo says New Providence. Julian says Cat Island. Anyone else before we move on? Natalie says Joanne says Nassau. Nassau is incorrect. Dara says New Providence. Okay, good. This is actually a statue that is located. Someone says any island on the west side of the country. Natalia says San Salvador. Calvin says Eleuthera. Okay, good. This picture is located in front of Government House in New Providence. Okay, it's a picture of Columbus. Okay, so let's talk about Columbus. Columbus was born in Genoa, Italy, which is a very busy seaport. So again, we see why he will have a love or a desire to go out and actually conquer the sea. He studied geography and navigation on his own. He had no real formal education. Okay, he worked as a weaver with his father and worked on various jobs on ships. That's how Columbus got interested in the sea. Okay, he became a boat captain and he sailed to Portugal. Okay, it is believed that that Columbus actually shipwrecked. Not believed, but Columbus actually shipwrecked during one of his voyages as a captain. He went to Portugal and he stayed there for a while, which is where again he was able to get some additional training in how to and being a better boat captain. This is where he learned about Prince Henry the Navigator, and hence again his desire to continue to pursue a degree or not adventures exploring the sea. Okay, so why did Columbus decide to explore? I summarized this by using something called 4GS. You know, and now we have well, years ago we had 4G cell phone, you know, 5G. I don't remember those times. Anyways, summarize it by 4GS. First of all, Columbus went on his voyage of discovery for greed. A new route would give Spain more power and influence in Portugal and other competing countries. Okay, so he was they were trying to outdo each other. The countries were trying to outdo each other. Okay, so if Spain conquered more land, if Portugal conquered more land, then they would become more powerful. So they were greedy for power. Also, God, Spain saw it as a way to spread Christianity to the uninhabited regions of the world. They wanted to, and everyone knows Jesus Christ was coming soon. And so exploring or finding new territory with new people was an opportunity for them to spread what they believe, okay? On spread their faith, expand territories. Good. Next one would be glory. Columbus would be famous for his new route and discovery of new land to the Indies and Spice Islands to outdo the Portuguese by going west to get east. Also gold. Spain could have more resources to fund its projects and wealth over other territories, okay? And finally, the S, 4GS, spices. Spain could sell spices used to preserve and give taste to food while making high profits to its citizens, okay? So these are the reasons why Columbus wanted to explore. He agreed, God, glory, God, and spices, okay? So that's what Columbus was trying to achieve during his voyage of discovery. So now, in order for Columbus to actually go on his voyage of discovery, Columbus had a dream. He's like many of us, we have a dream, but most persons you find who usually have dreams, we have no money. Columbus didn't have any money, so Columbus had to actually find someone to actually fund this voyage of discovery for him. And so Columbus' proposal to anyone who would sponsor his voyage was he needed 3 ships. He would be named governor of any land he discovered. Also, he wanted 10% of any goods produced or traded for the island. And he projected a distance on the sea going west from Europe to the Indies. And the Indies, with places such as China, Japan, India, and the East Indies, would be like about 2,400 miles, okay? And yeah, so that was Columbus proposed. Anyone that actually was going to spend money or to help him to fund his voyage of discovery, all he wanted was to be named governor, and he wanted 10%. He wanted some ships to actually go and do his voyage. Okay, good. So let's talk about sponsoring his voyage, okay? Because like we said, Columbus had no money. He had to find someone who was willing to spend money to sponsor his voyage. Like we said earlier, during the Renaissance era, you had countries that had a whole lot of money, and then they were willing to spend this money to explore and to expand the earth. So Columbus approached 2 different persons to fund his voyage. Firstly, he first approached the king and queen of Portugal, but the advisor said it would take 4 times longer than Columbus projected to reach the East Indies, and so therefore they didn't fund his voyage. After that, he then approached the king and queen of Spain, whose advisors had the same concern. Everyone that Columbus approached, the advisors told them that Columbus' voyage of his timeline was incorrect. However, Columbus was convinced that his timeline was correct. And like I said, when he approached Spain the first time, Spain said no because they were investing too much money fighting with the Moors, okay? And then 6 years later, Columbus went back to the king and queen of Spain, and they agreed to support Columbus's voyage. Good. So again, this Yeah. Okay. So let's review these questions based on what we just covered. And hopefully we should get these correct. Okay, everyone. Anyways, what I'm going to do is, because I see that we are, this question could take us all day. Anyways, let me give you 1 more minute to look over, make sure your answers are correct. Very good job, Raymond Taylor, who followed my instruction. And Alfred as well. Very good job, Alfred. Okay, good. Thank you, Calvin. Very good job. And a good job. Okay, good. So let's move on. Just a little easy recall exercise for you. Now let's get into things that are a bit more complex. Did anyone receive the email that I sent earlier? Can you please confirm by saying yes that you received the email I sent earlier? Okay, good. So this is what you're going to do for me. Someone said no. I'm assuming you guys came in later. Okay, if you didn't receive the email that I sent earlier, what you can do is I'm going to put my email address in the chat. You're going to send me an email, and I'm going to send you a copy of the PowerPoint later on today. Okay? Good. Okay, so let's try some other questions that are a bit more complex. Good. As you can see, sorry, can you see the pictures now? Oh, we're done with that section. Can everyone see now? It says use, read slides 11 to 15 and answer the following questions. The total marks for each question is indicated in the bracket. Question number 1, where was Columbus trying to reach on his voyage of discovery? 1 mark. Question B, state 3 things Columbus hoped to achieve on his voyage of discovery, 3 marks. Question C, explain 3 reasons why Spain sponsored Columbus' voyage of discovery, 5 marks. Question D, how similar were the views of the Spanish and Portuguese about Columbus's voyage of discovery, 5 marks. And question E, Columbus was unqualified for his voyage of discovery. How far do you agree to say? Explain your answer. Now, if you look at this, this is typically what you will see for BGCSE. BGCSE does not give you multiple choice. It's structured this way, so you are going to have to write for the entire duration of the exam. There is no multiple choice, no matching of any sort. Okay. If you can, if you have not received the emails yet, you can take a picture of this questions and so you can get started. But let's try to go over so to make sure we understand what we are asking for, because this class is going to be over very, very soon, and we have another question to do. So let's go. Question number 1. If you can type your answers in the chat section. I can see Ronaldo, Columbus trying to reach the Indies. B. Okay, very good. Raymond. And there's also a skill and a strategy to answering these questions. For question A and question B, there is no need to write full sentences. You can just write your information in point form, and that will be perfect, okay? Because these are recall questions. There's no need to write a whole dissertation. Asia, but do you have knowledge? Knowledge for what? Please indicate what you're answering for. Is it A or B? Good, Renardo. East Indies, good. Asia. So we're doing A and B now. Ciante, you're Pablo, Spain for what? He's trying to reach Spain? Ciante stuff, you have one of Spain. To prove Earth isn't flat. Question. I see some of you are putting information relative to him proving the Earth wasn't flat. Did Columbus know the Earth wasn't flat? Raymond, Spain. Question C. Spain would have more wealth and territories and the route. Give Spain more power. Spain also sells the spices they got on the journey. Columbus suspected. Okay, very good. He suspected, but he wasn't quite sure. Remember now, they believe that if they ventured too far off west, eventually they'd fall off the face of the earth and they would be devoured by sea monsters. Mistake. Okay, good. Extended territories, boundaries, around the world. Good, Miss Baker. Okay, good. Now let's look at question D. Question D says most of you have answered the question so far. So good. Okay. Okay, look at the question. The question says, how similar were the views of the Spanish and Portuguese about the Columbus's voyage of discovery? They both thought that. Now stop before you start writing. When you hear the word how similar in history means to identify similarities and differences. So you have to identify similarities and differences. No longer on the exam, they use the term compare. They use the term how similar. Okay? And so by using the term how similar, you have to identify similarities and differences in order to get full marks. You will not get full marks, but simply just putting similarities or things that are like. You must identify things that are like and things that are different. Okay? So that's what how similar means in history. How similar means things that are alike and things that are different. Okay, I see persons are putting just both. It has to be similarities and also differences. Okay. Very good. I see Brianna gets the concept. She has similarity and differences in one, which is that they thought he was inaccurate, but Spain decided to sponsor him after 6 years. Okay, good, very good. Raymond says Spain sponsored the voyage because Queen Isabella wanted to spread Christianity. Very good, Raymond. Gavin says both Portuguese and Spanish had seen a strong presence throughout the world as a result of European colonization and globalization. This means that two languages share a lexical similarity of almost 90%, but while the majority of words in each language sound similar, this doesn't mean that they are both the same. Gavin Pinder, you sound so philosophical, but let me say this to you, okay? There's no need to be philosophical in the exam, because for the most part, you would get 1 point for all these philosophical words. And the only point you'll get a point for based on what I read so far, Calvin Pinder, is the fact that both had a strong presence in European colonization and globalization. That's it. Everything else is just fluff. Answer the question, everyone. And that's where lots of kids during exam time, they sort of kind of err, is that they try to sound smart. There's no need to sound smart. Just answer the question and you should be good. They're both competitive countries. Very good. We both want to expand territories and free to go. Very good, Julian. Now give me some difference, Julian. He's going to get kicked off, by the way. Calvin says they conquered native people and used the land, resources, and forced labor to build colonies. Okay, Calvin, you're going ahead of us, but okay. Very good, Calvin. You're going ahead of us, but you did well. You redeemed yourself. Julian said Portugal didn't have any faith in Columbus. Very good. That's a difference. Spain took investment. Very good, Julian said that's a difference there. Okay. So we're going to stop this question here. So, like I said, typically you would put 3 similarities and 3 differences. I just got a message there. Our time is up, so we have to end very, very soon. Okay. Good. Last one says Columbus was unqualified for his voyage of discovery. How far do you agree with the statement? Being answered now again. But this question is the JPR question in history. You have to give points of agree and points of disagree. Okay, so that's where you are. Tell me why Columbus was qualified and how Columbus was not qualified. Okay, now because we're running out of time, what you can do is you can answer these questions and send them back to me via email. I sent my email in the chat. It's delvano.mcientosh@rmbailey.edu.bs, and I will look over them and we can use them as a springboard to start our next lesson. Okay. Also, there is a worksheet on Columbus. So I'm going to shoot you that worksheet as well, and you should be able to do that. Let me put my email up for everyone to see. Can everyone see the email address? So you're gonna email me your responses, and once you're done, just send me the responses. So your homework assignment is very simple for today. You're going to answer questions that we just saw on the previous slide. And so today we're going to end our session. Thank you all so much for coming. Hope you all had a wonderful time. Hope you all were able to answer the question. I'm going to show the questions again. So you're answering these questions for homework along with the reading assignment. The reading assignment should help to reinforce some stuff we learned today and should give you some additional knowledge that you need about Columbus, okay? Okay, so we're done for today. The reading assignment I'm going to email to you, okay? I can't show it to you. Dejanay Miller, if you send me an email, I should be able to send that to you, okay? So we're done for today. Thank you all so much. I can't see any more messages in the chat group. I stop it. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful day, and hopefully you enjoy your next session. Okay. Raymond, hopefully I got your email address earlier because it's a lot. Ugh. I don't even have a pen close to me, I guess. So sad. Okay. Thank you all so much. I will see you all at our next class, okay? Thank you. I'm leaving the meeting now. Raymond sent me an email because I don't have anything to capture this, okay? Thank you all. Enjoy next session.
It's social studies drill time. Now, put on your thinking caps and let's go way back to forms of government. Let's say these words together and memorize them as we go along. Ready? 1. Anarchy. Democracy. dictatorship, monarchy, and republic. Let's get started. In this form of government, there are free elections and power is shared. What form of government is that? Did you say democracy? That is correct. This country is ruled by one person and is the opposite of a democracy. The leader is also backed by a whole army. What form of government is that? Awesome! Dictatorship is correct. In this form of government, the leader inherits the power to govern as king or queen, emperor or empress. Yes, think about it. You do know the answer. Monarchy. Cool. In this form of government, the leader is the president, who may or may not be elected by the people. What form of government is that? Yes, republic. And finally, sometimes countries are left with no form of government, total chaos everywhere. This is called an anarchy. Well done, guys. You did an excellent job.
I am so happy for the Bahamas Virtual Learning website. Even though I cannot go to school, my learning does not have to stop. Every morning, I go to ministryoфeducation.com and click on the Virtual Learning Portal button. Next, I select my grade level. This learning schedule outlines my entire week. I navigate to the appropriate date. I always check the time to make sure that I am never late for classes. Then, I select the Join Now button. This directs me to a Zoom landing page. I am not the host of the session, so I will select Join as an attendee. Next, I fill out the class registration form. This is like a daily attendance. Present. Finally, I click on the link at the bottom when I am in my virtual classroom. I can ask questions in the Q&A and chat directly to the teacher. It's like having my own private tutor. If I miss a live lesson, I can come back to the page the following day and access the recording from the previous class.
Good morning, grade 7, and welcome.
Phew. But wait, there's more. I can explore all of the additional resources for that subject by clicking onto the Lesson Resources link. Here, I will find the PowerPoint from the lesson, additional lesson notes, and worksheets for practice. But the learning doesn't stop there. All of my option subjects are also available on the Virtual Learning website. To access the option subjects, I click onto an option block on the timetable, and then boom, a whole menu of option subjects appear. I can access resources for computer studies, electrical, modern languages, visual and performing arts, and even cosmetology and carpentry. Want to know my secret? I download all of the resources and save them on my computer. So if the internet goes down, I still have my resources. There are even resources available for my little brother in primary school. Once mommy goes to the page for his grade level, she finds all kinds of fun and exciting videos and activities that he can use for each day of the week.
Whoa, what an adventure!
Add the silent E after the consonant, it becomes sight.
Wow, you guys thought of it all. I kind of like this virtual learning thing.